listeners, to the BizBlend podcast, where we decode the mindset behind meaningful business success. I'm your host, Sana, and today we're diving into a conversation that's both personal and powerful, the connection between mental health and business performance. Listeners, we live in a world that rewards hustle but rarely honors wholeness. What if the very pressure that drives performance is also what disconnects us from our potential? Now, to help me unravel answer to this question and further more discussion on this, I have a guest who knows this struggle deeply. Listeners, meet Grace Najean. She is a transformational leadership strategist and the creator of the Soulfluence Method. Now, with over 5,000 hours of coaching experience, including 8 years as platinum coach with Tony Robbins, Grace helps high performers shift from stress fueled ambition to sustainable, soul aligned success. And as someone who has supported executives, entrepreneurs, leaders globally, and personally, she has walked the path from burnout to alignment. Grace brings a rare combination of strategic brilliance and spiritual depth. So, if you are feeling or maybe realizing this the weight of success, and you are thinking that if even if there, is there a better way to lead or live and perform? This episode is an invitation forward. So let's get quickly started. So, Grace, welcome to the show, and it is such an honor to have you with us.
Oh, hi, Sana. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm so honored to be with the audience and who is looking for, your story and then following your journey.
Absolutely. That is great. So, Grace, before we talk about the topic, let's start with your journey. Um, so, you have created, which is called the Soulfluence Method, and that's really a very creative, beautiful name. So, what kind of personal experiences are involved here, which shaped the creation of this method?
Yes, sure. So the soul fluence is a soulful influence in one word, right? Soul fluence. So influenced by soul. It's that. So we have like a misunderstanding of soul, and usually people relate to religions or spiritual things. But for me, when I say soul, it's really about through yourself, connecting back to who you are. That's what I mean. Soul. So my journey is just I'm just an ordinary woman over 30 years as a wife and then 20 years as a mom and who had just lots of experience, life experience. So obviously I was born in Korea as a Korean and I lived for 19 years and then I went to Paris in Europe and then lived there for 19 years again. And then I'm now living in Australia in Perth since 17 years. First part of my life was I was a professional pianist. So I played the piano 3 to 6 hours every day. I mean, every day, right? And I was in concertees. I did a lots of competition, and second chapter of my life was in Paris in Europe. So I did my study. So I gave up my piano. Long story, but short. I gave up my piano. And I studied business, and then I getting into corporate world as a leader, corporate leader in sales and marketing. And at the end of this period, in Paris, we had our daughter in 2003, and then that changed really my perspectives in life. And then we choose to come to Australia for a better lifestyle and life balance, I would say. And I became a coach. So that's how my journey started. Coaching is not really about, you know. how can I say, the job or profession for me, because coaching brought me so much into my life. So I became better person, better mom, better wife, better friends, so therefore I can serve others, to and share my journey, to support them, to be better version of themselves. So the Soulfluence is, I've been, as you mentioned already, I've been in this personal development journey over 12, 13 years now. And I
Mhm.
went through, all over. I was a Tony Robbins coach. I did a spiritual journey with the Oneness University in India. I did a Vipassana twice. I did a TM meditation. I did, name it, Mind Valley programs. And lastly, Dr. Dispenza. So I did all his, retreats. Well, it's like, I see the people coming back and back and back and back. Like, what's going on, these people, right? Um, what are they looking for? And then why do they come back all the time, right? Um, and I found out that it is amazing to have a transformation, but when they go back into their own life, because their environment is not changed. It's the same husband, same wife, right? Same family, or if you are single, same colleagues, same street, same house. So it is very difficult for them to maintaining that transformation and then getting into that soul, state. Uh, so that's why I created this Soulfluence method of integrating. I think it's not anyway for my clients. They're all high achievers and already experts in what they're doing. What's missing is just integrating. So knowing something and doing something is different, right? So they're so intellectual. They are so, how can I say, smart people. So they understand everything and they want to learn and learn and learn. But when it comes down to doing it, sometimes it's so simple. They don't do it, right? Um, and they just keep going, suffering. So here you go. That's a little bit short and long introduction.
No, that is so great. And yeah, I mean, uh, this is a kind of journey, self-realization is there, self-awareness is there. We start to uh, embrace the unknown, yet we take the risks, and because I guess not only the body but the mind, our spirit or our soul gives us signals that you know you have had quite of it or probably enough of it, and this is your time to you know respect yourself, stop judging yourself, and start taking care of yourself, not physically but mentally and spiritually. So I can absolutely you know understand how you came up with a soul fluence method. So, Grace, thank you for sharing your journey, of course. Now let's talk about. I know we have so many resources right now. Uh, People know that some of the common signs that especially high performers, mental health or physical health, they can exhibit. But in your experience, Grace, what have been or what are some of the most common symptoms or signs that high performance mental health may be silently sabotaging their business performance, because sometimes it really becomes too late to kind of realize that it is getting sabotaged.
Mm, absolutely. So yeah, of course, because I've been coaching, high performers or leaders, or around the globe, right?
Mhm.
And I see some patterns coming. So simply one question is, hey Grace, I want to be happy. And then I ask, yeah, so what makes you happy? And big silence. I don't know. They don't know. So they are leaders and high achievers. So they've been serving for everybody else. Means company, team, KPI, family, children, right? So their focus is really serving others as a leaders. But when it comes down to themselves, they're disconnected or overstretched. Um, so when you don't know what makes you happy, how can you get it? Yeah. So that's the first, the how can say situation. I see that people are disconnected with themselves, right? And secondly, a little bit like a more how can say severe or serious is they are completely over stressed. They don't have a time. They're living in that stress, the consistent stress, overwhelming feeling, not enough. Um so one thing really amazed me is in that level of a people, in that expertise and a high performance, number of people mention about self-confidence. They lose their self-confidence. So whatever they do, they're feeling like that they have to do more or they have to have more. They have to, not enough, not good enough, right? So I think that I would say that's gonna be second, a situation I can see when people are burnt out or beginning of burnout. The thing is, this burnout is a topic nowadays. But if you talk about it like a scientific way, there are many ways you can explain it, right? Neurobiologically, response, typically fight or flight. So if you keep doing this stress, that chronic stress, really keeps us in a sympathetic state, right? From that stage, and believe or not, you can be really addicted to that stress hormone. So then your nervous system can't resist. It means you keep pushing it, and addicted to that adrenal, you know, adrenaline. So then your brain becomes a brain fog, or an emotional or dehydration, I would say, right? So that's one way we can explain. And as I did like a Dr. Dispenza's work, it's the same thing. He advocate about that survival mode, because you have that stress based thinking all the time, all the time, right? I think it's a similar way to explain it, but he more focus on a present moment and awareness, higher consciousness. So therefore, you can have access to that higher order thinking, right? Third one is a quantum physics perspective. So, according to quantum theory nowadays, our thoughts, emotions, and energy fields are not separated. The frequency we operate from influence not just our mood or our behaviors, but the outcomes we create. So that's how scientifically we can explain about the burnout situation. But for me, it's more about the soul. So when your soul is out of alignment, for me, that's where you have that burnout. Mm. So this morning, I had a client. She has the symptom of MS attack. So that multiple sclerosis, right? So she has that vision problem. She sees double visions usually. When she accepted being disability because of that, and she presented herself as a disability or ability person. And so I said, "Oh yeah, what happened to you?" And then she said, "Just MS attack. There's no accident, physical accident, nothing, right?" So what happens? It's a long way. She's a very spiritual person, and she has a very, very strong soul, her personality and values, right? But somehow she moved from that South America, very spiritual land to Australia when she lives here since 20 years. And she has that, how can I say, the duality of vision of herself. So I could see when I have a chat with her, one moment she goes into her heart, becoming such soulful and passionate and then loving person. And suddenly she switched in her head becomes, oh, I need to manage this, I need to have this, I need to have this much money, financial balance and all these things. Yeah. So it's a really switching between that heart to heart to brain, right? When your body is really representation of your soul. So when she's having that double vision, it's not only her physical symptom. That's what's going on in really in her soul. Because she is not aligned. She's traveling between two worlds, right? What you call matrix and out of matrix. Yeah. So for me, like most of people,
Mhm.
especially the spiritually or higher consciousness like a leaders who want to serve other people, they are all conscious about that, need to be aligned with yourself, but they don't know how. And especially even if they know because they did a personal development or retreats and all that, but they still play the game of the matrix.
Okay. So it's more about the way the soul uh feels kind of empty or hollow, uh or kind of almost I mean, I shouldn't use the word within, but because I have personally gone through that experience, like dead within.
Mhm.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, please, no, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So that emptiness comes because you're not you. You're
Mm.
empty.
Yes.
Y- So for me, burnout isn't a time problem. It's a
Mm-hmm.
who's problem. So most of people not tired of doing too much because you can't if you're passionate, you love what you do and you're creating something, you can't be tired, right? But I think most of people are tired from doing what's no longer aligned with themselves. So yeah, so your nervous system doesn't lie, right? So it's the most honest feedback you will get from inner you.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out like burnout. So for me, the healing burnout isn't about working less. It's really about living from a deeper why, your purpose.
Mm. Yeah, understood. Understood. And that really makes sense. It really gives a different perspective to this as well. Um, because uh, let's say I am, for example, I'm into podcasting. Sometimes it becomes really physically uh, hard for me to go throughout the day or the night during my recordings and schedules and all that. But my soul, my spirit is kind of helping me push through it because uh, it is getting nourished, it is getting fed because I'm soulfully aligned with this work. Even if my body is feeling tired, my mind is saying, okay, let's just take a quick break. I cannot continue right now. But still, I'm getting that energy. No, okay, fine. Let's just finish this because this is important. I'm loving this. Then, after doing this, let's take that break. So, yes, I can understand that. And this really, really makes sense, Grace.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So what I can suggest to people, after these all long years, right? And
Mhm,
especially like a Tony Robbins is much more like a power, right? Physical
mhm,
power, mindset, and then do it. And then Dr. Dispenza is like more higher consciousness. And all my spiritual teacher are like a spiritual, right? The meditation and going that a stillness and all that. And I was like, okay, I got all these things. I'm very lucky. Been through all of them myself. So I got something out of it, right? But my clients, they're so busy. They can't just stay 5 minutes still, right? So I'm like, how can I translate this to them? How can I bring this? Because I can't ask them doing all these things for 12 years like me, right? Um, so that's where the Soulfluence method came up. So I realized really there are three different parts, all the ancient wisdom say body, mind, soul. Yeah. Uh,
mhm,
it is absolutely true. And my like a translation of that is body is not only body energy, like a physical muscle energy, but it's really, especially like in Indian culture we call chakras, right? Or energy centers or prana work, kundalini, right? So it's really about we have the different energy center. For me, it's more like a mechanic energy centers rather than spiritual or the how can I say muscle. So there are seven centers of your body. You need to align and open because most of people like some centers are stuck by their past experiences or trauma or even little things, can be really impacted that are, different centers. So that alignment of the center energy, that's one thing. That's what I call body, which is the vessel. I call it a vessel to navigate you. Body is a temple, and for me, the body is the vessel. And the second part is really that mind. So the second part is that mindset, what I call the compass. Yeah. So
mhm,
that compass, the clarity. Most of people, when they are burnout or overwhelmed, they don't have the clarity,
yeah,
especially because they're too much in their head. They're
mm,
disconnected with the rest of the part of body, means especially with the heart. They are completely disconnected and non-coherent brain from their heart. So that's the second part. I would really, for me, the mind is connecting with your heart and the rest of the body, the compass. So then you have that clarity. Once you have that body, vessel, and compass ready, now this is time you can reconnect with your soul level, which is the consciousness, a higher consciousness, which
mhm,
I call the light. Yeah. So once you have that light, you can see even clearer and the wider vision of your life and the any general sense of life, I would say. Yeah. So that's why I call that three things: the vessel, the compass, and the light needs to be aligned. And I work with my clients on that three different parts, and finally integrate them together.
mhm. And, because you work with high performance, Grace, so is there any standard time or duration of that healing, or it's like a never ending process? It's just that you give them the guidance and they have to embark upon on this journey themselves. I mean, how does it start?
Yeah, but but that's the thing. Nowadays, people want everything quick fix. See?
Mhm. Yeah.
And apparently that works. Even I do all the marketing sales courses, online, whatever, webinar and then, master classes. They all say, go quick. People don't want it long. They say just you can fix it now. um, but is it true? Is that true? Right. So, I think, as you know, there are lots of yoga practices or spiritual practices like that, 90 days challenges or physical challenges, yeah, 100 days challenges, yeah. So
Mm.
that's at the time your brain get used to it and then start to have as a habit. So that's 90 days, minimum. And after that, your brain say, "Oh, I know it. I'm used to it. I'm familiar with this. Now I can do it without pain." So that's where that habit start to kick in. Yeah. And that's the time you need to let go the old habit too. There are so much old habits we've been doing, right? So new creating new habit, I think it takes a little bit of time and willpower, I would say. Um, so the first of all, I think doing that little meditation. When especially my corporate clients or leaders, and there's meditation boring. Yeah, so then don't do the meditation. It's okay. Just a breathing word, or just a simple thing is counting down out loud, 50 to 1, counting
Mhm.
down, but you visualize number and you speak out. So 50, 49, 48 till 1. Yeah. So that's like a what? 1 minute of practice every day. At least you give that 60 seconds of break to your brain. When your brain is overworking, just give a break. And even 60 minutes is a big gift, right? But guess what? Most of my clients, they can't do it. 50 to 1. So our client call me, seriously call me, Grace, I feel such a failure. I feel failure. What's happening? You can't be 50 to 1. Impossible. Always the thoughts comes and then, there's something happens. So as I'm high achiever, I created to since 20 to 1 so I can make it happen. But she said I couldn't do it 20 to 1. So I did 10 to 1. So start to 10 to 1, 20 to 1, increase to 50 to 1 and 100 if you. So I think that's a simple things, but it's so simple and boring, so people don't do it. But if you do it for 30 days, I'm sure your brain gonna be so happy and then start to have some clarity, of course. And then
Yeah.
breathing, right? Breathing, right? So that's a simple things that you can start to do. And the self-awareness, as you mentioned, yeah. Knowing. So seriously, who sit down 10 minutes per day? Oh, I'm gonna talk about myself today. I'm gonna, I wanna know who I am. And we don't do that, right? We are all about others or outer world. So I think you need to really, really have a time to sit down, having it time with your own self, me time, and write down the things what you think. I have a certain things I suggest to my client is also doing SWOT analysis. It's a marketing tool. You can do it on yourself. What are my strengths? What are weaknesses? What
Mhm.
opportunity and threats I have? And there's a book Ikigai, same thing, Ikigai. I think a lot of people know it's a Japanese philosophy. If you Google Ikigai, Ikigai, what you love to do, um, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. Yeah. If you do so, you are living in your passion, vocation, profession, and mission, or all in one. Yeah. So you can just brainstorm what I love to do, what I'm good at, and all these things. And there's another things I usually use is a timeline. It's an NLP tool, but timeline, doing time your own timeline is amazing tool as well. So whatever you do, just to do on yourself, give yourself that time of knowing and meet with yourself. I think that's very important.
Hmm. That is impressive, Grace, and it's really really true. But um, again, there will be skepticism, especially from the business context, uh, for this that business performance it requires grit and mental toughness, which yes, I also agree, but not emotional vulnerability because you know uh, it makes you weak or you seem like weak as a leader, as let's say a performer, a high high achiever. How do you respond to the skepticism, Grace, that emotions should be checked at the boardroom door?
Mm. Um, I think it depends on what kind of leader do you want to be. There are leaders and leaders, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you are like a leader, strong, dictative, go and then command the type of leader. Yes, you can. Um, it's the culture you want to create within you, right? And then with your company or your team. Um,
Mhm.
or are you a true leader of authentic leader, right? So again, authentic leader is a very fancy word nowadays, right? What does it mean? It's leading from your soul for me, yeah? Leading from who you really are through yourself. But the problem is they don't know who they are, right? So how they can be themselves if they don't know who they are, right? So then what happens is they pretend to become somebody else. Oh, I saw this leader. He looks very strong. He does they make his decision, bang, bang, bang. I need to be like that. Or I see this person, she's a very how can I say, sharp and thick and in decision makings, or looks very intelligent. So I need to do more. I need to have more degrees. I need to have a more, whatever, you know. So they all pretend to become somebody else. That's where it becomes the gap because it's not themselves. It's not gonna work, and they're not happy, never fulfilled. Yeah. So when you're authentic leader, there's a coach. It was a course, and then she said the vulnerability and the leadership goes together. It's like a twins. You can be authentic if you're not vulnerable.
That's absolutely true. And I loved that you mentioned the culture within you, because what I believe is, especially for leaders or in business, or if you're managing a team, uh, the culture within you, it reflects in the ways you speak, you talk, you work, you communicate, you execute as well. So that's really really a very, it resonates with me, at least.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. I think it's end of the day the choice. Um, you can be leader. I think I believe everybody can become a leader. At least it's self leader, right? It's like a parenting.
Yeah,
What kind of parent do you want to become? You
that's
know,
right. That's right. In many ways, there's so many parallels we can take from parenting.
absolutely. I see so much, yeah, a similarity and a parallel in parenting and leadership, because when we are parents, we are leaders for them, yeah. But as you can see, there are so many parents just dictative and do this command and very severe, and then not like our parents' generation, right? um, or there are parents open and communicate and connect with their children, yeah, and really have that compassion of being parent. So I think it's a similar thing. So what makes a difference? Maybe you will succeed in both cases, but how you feel inside is maybe different.
Beautiful. So, Grace, before we finally wrap up this conversation, if our listeners would like to connect with you and also explore more about Soulfluence Method, what's the best way to do?
Oh yeah, so you can go to my website, Grace Najean, my name, Grace Najean, Najean.com. You can find I run a retreat. So I realize, really we need to have the body transformation first. Serious, that's a fast track for me in personal transformation. So I run a retreat, 7-day retreat in Lombok in near Bali in June, 14th of June. I bring a vocal transformation coach. She's trained by shamans in Peru and Costa Rica. And so she opens all your voice by that each center. So we work together for 7 days to really awaken your voice and then your body. So that's what I do. And then after that, I support our, whole year as a group coaching with the same people and then individual coaching. So because I was a really, really, I spend a lot of time. How can I support better my clients, right? What is going to be sustainable? So the 7 days of between the 7 weeks of group coaching, 7 months of individual coaching. So that's my whole program, 777 program.
Wow. Great. I'll make sure to have all the links and details in the show notes. And Grace, thank you. Thank you. What I, uh, you know, take away from this conversation is because I have seen firsthand how performance can become a kind of mask, hiding that anxiety, fatigue, in fact, identity crisis, which you touched upon in the conversation. Uh, it really resonates deeply with me, especially, the emphasis on integration and understanding who we are, the culture within us. I'm going to take that phrase away with me as well. So, thank you so much for this rich, honest, absolutely necessary conversation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. If there is a one thing I want to leave with you is true leadership doesn't come from doing more. It
Mm.
comes from being more aligned with yourself.
That's really beautiful, and really meaningful. It has a deep meaning within itself. So, I'm encouraging all of our listeners to connect with Grace, check out her Soulfluence Method. You can refer to the show notes along with this episode. And if you are outwardly thriving, but you are tired inside out, let this be your sign. There is another way to lead. So, with that, as always, don't forget to subscribe to BizBlend, where strategy meets soul, and keep tuning to BizBlend to have more such conversations with incredible guests like Grace. Thank you.